it's a very interesting time in that not only is the consumption going to OTT, but you also have that corresponding decline in linear. So if you look back and think about mobile, and this is the year of mobile, which was for many years, you still had a very strong television presence. And not to say that television isn't strong, but the declines since 2010 are over 50% in some demographics. And so when you combine that with where are they going to watch essentially television, movies and TV show on TVs, it's in OTT. So that's why things have really changed. And even when you look at last year versus this year, last year Tubi, when we were talking to account teams on the TV investment side that were planning for us in their upfronts, it was, we're going to have money that we'll set aside for upfronts, but let us finish the linear upfronts and then we'll come to you and work it out. It's different this year. This year, they are planning OTT alongside their traditional TV, their cable and broadcast. And the reason is that they got burned. And it's been year over year, but last year it was, I think, more painful than ever in terms of the over-promising and under-delivering. And it's just too difficult to move the money, into ADUs from one quarter to the next. They need to run flighting and get reach to their target audiences. And so this is the place, and now's the time.
So talking about your product and understanding attribution and performance, tell us why that's important and your new relationship with Samba TV.
Yeah, so we're proud to announce our partnership with Samba TV. And to your question about attribution and performance, the primary problem is what I discussed in that the incremental reach to television. As reach is declining in linear TV, it's using this medium to get that reach. But then the question is, can you prove it? And how is that performing? And so companies like Samba allow us to bridge that measurement gap of reach and frequency from the traditional TV side to OTT. And the results that we've seen in the campaigns we've done are very promising, because there's not just low overlap to television buys, but even low overlap to other OTT. So if you're doing your FEP extensions, you have to authenticate, so you have to have that subscription. If you're buying Hulu, you have to have a subscription. And while Hulu's large, there's still low overlap with Hulu and Tubi. It's less than, I think MRI has it at a 22% overlap.
So how does it work a little bit? Can you explain how the Samba TV platform works with your platform?
Yeah, well, working with our platform is pretty easy because Samba has built the technology. So it's really just a pixel implementation. What they do on their side is ACR, or automated content recognition. So they measure everything that's happening on the glass with the TV manufacturers in which they have a chip installed. And so by doing so, they have basically a super panel, many millions, I think, and they've all, I think it might be over 10 million. I should know that number, but what I do know is that they don't just have that panel, they also curate that panel for the right demographics and geographics. So the panel that they really look at is somewhere around 3.5 million as far as I know. But again, a super panel that sees what people are watching on television, whether it's on linear, whether it's OTT, whether it's through device or through cable, and they can recognize that. And so then they can understand duplication of that ad or frequency to a specific target. Because that runs through a household on the internet and is attached to an IP address, because these are smart TVs and smart devices, they can then look at that with other behaviors in the home. So that's where you can then see is there lift to website traffic? You can hang off other types of studies to understand things like purchase intent. So it's very, very interesting.
Cool. And tell us about the marketplace. We saw a big deal with Pluto. There's a lot of interest in the space. What are the opportunities for the ad-supported OTT, like, for you guys, and how do you see sort of the market maybe changing this year with some big players entering, as we know?
Yes. I'd say, the marketplace for ad-supported is a coiled spring. People have been ignoring, I think, for a long time, the likes of Tubi, a free ad-supported product. You see an interesting dynamic where people are recognizing the shift. Media companies are following suit by launching their apps, which are subscription products, largely. And those subscription products, there's a big problem there, because are you going to subscribe to 10 different apps? Maybe, I don't know. And you're of higher income in the media industry. How many people are going to do 5? When you have Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, you can name dozens more, and there's already subscription fatigue. So what Parks and Associates did some research and said the average American is going to have 2 apps that they subscribe to. And so it leaves this wide open field for free, ad-supported, for everything else they get. And what we find from our customers is that they often have a Netflix subscription. Maybe they do HBO for a month or 2 and binge watch Game of Thrones, and then they turn it off. Maybe they binge watch Billions on Showtime and turn it off. But we're kind of that place that they go to watch either things that are library that they've never seen, or rewatch things from their youth. And so it's a very hot space to be in, that free AVOD, we think, is the future.
Cool. And finally, just to understand the advertising availability on Tubi in terms of the inventory that you can offer and the kinds of formats of the advertising that you can provide.
Yeah, so we are 100% full screen, non-skippable. Over 80% of our inventory is on the big screen on televisions, and the rest of that is on mobile apps, whether mobile or tablet. We have primarily been in 15s and 30s, and also shorter, so 6 seconds. What we announced last night as part of our upfront are some new ad products. So as part of the broadcast year, we're announcing the opportunity to target and get guaranteed impressions for the first position in the pod, which research dating back to even the 70s shows that that first position is often driving 30% more ad awareness than other parts in the pod. So that is a first. We're adding long form, so 60s, 90s, and trailers. And while that's not a first in the industry, what we held out until we found a way to really maintain the viewer experience, and that means we didn't want to extend the duration of the ad pods or the overall ad load. So what we have built is the ability to have that where it will continue with our low ad load. So if you're buying a long form ad, more often than not, you're getting the only ad in the pod. So it's also a pod buster. And then we're also going to be doing sponsorships this year. So some of our clients have been asking for a while, hey, we've got this tentpole event, let's say around the Oscars, and we're advertising, for that. You have content that has either former Oscar-winning movies or nominated actors and directors. We'd love to sponsor that. And so we are taking that step where you can actually own that position, own more of the content.